Hi, athletes. It's Chad here. I'm going to do a quick overview on judging. I just took the judges course. We have to take it every year, just as like a bit of a refresher. It's available if you go to games.crossfit.com, and then I think you go over to education and do online courses. Down here, you'll scroll and you'll find the judges course, click learn more, and then you'll actually go through and click register. It's $10. It takes about an hour. I think it's a really good thing for any CrossFitter who is going to put themselves in a competitive environment, should kind of know this information in a more detailed fashion. I think it'll really um, help you guys kind of appreciate the process and the integrity of of competing a little bit more. I know it always kind of refreshes that sentiment for me. Um, so throughout the year, we don't do really any judging unless you compete in some sort of local comp or another type of online qualifier. Um, so this may be completely foreign to you. If you've done the open before, it's probably pretty familiar. But I'm just going to scroll through the introduction section here because I think there's some valuable kind of tidbits of information, and just know that there's more detail to a lot of this stuff if you do the whole course. Um, the main kind of point of the judge is to ensure that the integrity of the workout is preserved. The order, loading, and repetition count primarily, enforcing the movement standards, which is essentially the range of motion of the movement, um, and then essentially recording that result and providing a sense of validation that the workout was performed correctly. This helps to ensure the integrity of the competition and enforces a level playing field. Um, and it's really meant to be done to kind of professionalize the sport. We know this is definitely very much for fun, but we can still have a lot of fun and keep it fair and professional. So um, the whole point is to make this as objective and as consistent as possible across the board. Um, you got to know the movement standards. The movement standards for each movement are different. A lot of them have to do with establishing like I said, a range of motion. For like a squat based movement, it would be making sure that your hip crease goes below parallel, as shown on the right. For any movement that finishes overhead, it would be reaching full extension of the lower body, the knees, hips, and then through the shoulders. For example, a barbell press, you would need to have basically, when viewed from a side profile, a straight line from the bar all the way down to the foot. So the judge's goal is to basically, once the workout starts, get in a good position to see the movement and to actually kind of do the accounting and make sure each rep is done completely. If you've never judged before, it can be a little bit intimidating and a little bit scary, and you will find that you're resistant to call out a no rep. Athletes that have never been judged before, that have gotten a no rep, might find it frustrating initially, but you need to know that both as a judge and as an athlete, no reps are just expected. They happen all the time to good athletes that compete regularly, and to more beginner, novice level athletes that may be new to it. So know that everybody at some point is probably going to get a no rep, and that it's not a personal attack. It's just part of ensuring that the workout is done consistently. The role of the judge is not to do is not necessarily to coach or motivate. Now you're welcome to encourage and cheer them on, but that is not your primary goal. That is secondary. Um, for example, if somebody takes a mid-set break to chalk up, saying like, "Hey, you can do this, you got this," like that's perfectly fine. But if your cheering and encouragement gets in the way of you upholding the movement standard or losing count of the reps, then obviously that's not desirable. Technique, that's on the coaches. Don't worry about the technique that they're using. If you fear for their safety, maybe tell them to stop and grab a coach and have a coach help out. But your goal is not to necessarily coach their movement. Again, and your goal is to confirm that the performance of the athlete was legit. There are some other things in here on like video submission standards. I'm not going to get into that. There is a full games rule book. If you want to know all the details, you can find that out. Um, each week when the workouts are announced, a uh, a full refresher is given for each movement in the video announcement on how to actually execute the workout, how to set everything up, how to make sure that the athlete's doing the workout correctly. So this is a general overview, this judging course, but each week all of the very fine details will be called out in the workout announcements. The uncommon movements clause, this is kind of a weird one, but if anybody finds a way to hack a movement that is deemed unconventional, technically it's not allowed. And this doesn't happen very often, but there are some rare cases where it comes up. And in general, a coach that's overseeing a class or heats that are being run would be most likely to pick this up. Um, an uncommon movement would be considered maybe like bouncing a deadlift, like intentionally bouncing the bar into the ground. If you've seen that before, you'll recognize it. If not, um, for now, I wouldn't worry about it. But that's just something that they make sure to point out, is just to make sure the goal is not to hack the movements. The goal is to essentially perform the desired amount of work to find the fittest, not necessarily the most conniving athlete, or the most clever athlete, I should say. Video submission standards, I'm not really going to get into this. If you do need to do one because you're out of town or you're not able to make it into the gym, let us know. We will walk you through doing this and how to make sure that you do it correctly. If you're doing it for the CrossFit, actually doing it to submit for the CrossFit Open, you definitely want to review this so that you do it as well as are going to want. Let's see what else we got here. It just kind of walks you through how to actually go through and do a video submission. You can see that the athlete's supposed to say their name. They're supposed to make any clear measurements that need to be known ahead of time. This one is a little bit detailed because of the box for the handstand push-ups. If you have a weight for a barbell, they're going to ask you to show the weights on the plates as well as the weight of the barbell itself. All of your equipment and the athlete need to remain in the frame at all times. Yeah. So you have to start the video with that, and then the video cannot be edited in any way. The video would then kind of pull back to a point where you could see everything in the frame all at once, including a running clock. Then you would have a judge there counting for you, 3, 2, 1, go. You would go ahead and do the whole workout and keeping it all in frame, adhering to the movement standards the entire time. Let's see. Cannot be edited. Yeah. And it's a good idea. They're just saying here to review your video submission before you submit it. Again, I don't think many people will have to do this, but if you do, it's here. Videos can be subjected to different labels based on how they're submitted. Okay, so and then there's a section at the end here just to review the introduction to judging. Let's see if there's anything in here I missed. And then at the end, there's just a little quiz that they walk you through. All right. So back to the course itself. Once you finish the introduction, there's an overview on squatting, pressing, pulling, hanging, and then any other additional movements that don't fall into those categories, and finishes with a final exam. Each section took, I think, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. Depending on if this is your first time going through it or not, it may take you longer. When they quiz you and they do little exams here, it's some of the questions are a little bit nitpicky and at times maybe not super clear. But once it's been way worse in the past. I think this is actually the most reasonable version of the judges course that they've posted to date. And that's why I'm making such a big plug for you guys to do it, because I think it is really good, really valuable, especially if you're competing, whether it's in the open now or sometime down the road in a competition. It's just really good stuff to know. So that's my kind of overview on the judges course. We will be reviewing all of the information needed for athletes to successfully judge each other in the gym. Whether you're signed up for the open or not, you're going to get judged through the workout. And if you're in the open or the Avita open, you're going to have a score sheet that comes out of that. And that score sheet is what we need to make sure your results get recorded. So it's the judge's job to make sure the right score gets entered onto that score sheet, and it's actually reflecting an accurate score that it was performed with a high level of integrity. That's it, guys. Let us know if you have any questions, and yeah, give it a shot if you got an extra. Like I said, it's about an hour if you want to do the whole thing. All right, take care.